Hi, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. This is video 2 of 3 in our introduction series, our foundation series for surplus funds, also called overages, overbids, excess proceeds. If you are watching this before watching video 1, I'll put a link right up here. If it's not here right now, it will be shortly. And that'll be a link to video 1 because you really need to start at video 1 just to get a real basic overview and then come to this. There'll be a link at the end of that video to come back here. All right, guys, I'm going to use my cheat sheet. There are 4 things we're going to cover in this video. The first is how to research debt and ownership, because if you do not do that, if you do not go into the registered deed departments online, if you do not go online and check the ownership and the debt at the time of the foreclosure, you are wasting your time. It could have been a different owner than the person on that list, and there could be additional debt that is a priority claim in front of the owner. You got to check debt and ownership, guys. Anybody telling you different is blowing smoke and trying to make a quick buck off of you. Second thing is we're going to cover. Can you tell I'm a little passionate about that? Second thing we're going to cover is how to find, contact, and approach these claimants, the actual person owed the money. Third thing is negotiation. A lot of tips and techniques there that you're going to want to watch. And then, well, there's actually 5. I told you guys 4. The fourth thing, the fourth thing is contracts and submitting it to the court. And the 5th is paying out claimants. Okay, so you have to double check. You've gotten a list. We kind of touched on that a little bit in video 1, but you have a list now. You typically have a name, dollar amount, sometimes a reference as to a parcel number or an address. You can take that information, go to the registered deeds department. We actually start with the tax assessor's office because then you can get a truncated or shortened legal description. And that way, when you're looking up deeds in the past owner's name or the owner that they listed on that list is anyway, when you're looking that up, you can also match up and make sure, because sometimes people sometimes people own more than one home, so you want to make sure you're checking the debt against them. Debt against home over here does not count against a debt against home over here. So you have to be able to do that. Easy. Our 1 hour video, it's free training. Surplusfundsriches.net. Our 1 hour video really goes in depth. I actually opened that up and checked that out for you. It's at surplusfundsriches.net. Click on free training. All right. So you're going to be checking for debt to make sure there wasn't an additional mortgage or HELOC loan or lien against that property recorded in the Register of Deeds department. You're also going to make sure that that owner did not transfer the property prior to the sale, because if they did, 9 times out of 10, the new owner is owed that money, not them, even if they're named in the foreclosure. Happens a lot, guys, particularly in tax. The tax departments don't always update their list of ownership on a timely basis, so they're foreclosing. And remember, they're foreclosing against the property, not the person per se, really. A foreclosure on over taxes is not going to count against you. Okay, it's not. If you had a mortgage, sure, you're going to have the credit ding there, but a foreclosure over taxes is not going to count against somebody credit wise. Again, you're going to go to the Register of Deeds. It's also called the Land Records Department. You can simply Google that, put in, let's say, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, Register of Deeds or Land Records Department. It'll lead you through there, and it'll actually give you tutorials where you can check it out, or you can just see our example where we go through and give you some examples of actually researching debt. Not hard to do, guys, on our website at surplusfundsriches.net. All right, finding and contacting claimants. Now, just so you know, we have a program called National Surplus Funds Program. If you don't want to have to get skip tracing or mail these people and call them and do all that, maybe you don't have a voice that you feels good. You don't have a good phone voice for contacting people. Maybe you're timid on the phone. You can partner with us. It's called the National Surplus Funds Program. It's on our site at surplusfundsriches.net. It's $5.97. What you, at least it is today, July 10th, 2024. What you do, your job is to get a list. Go get a list. Take that list, research the debt, make sure there wasn't additional debt or an ownership change prior to the sale. Fill out a worksheet with the information turned in. We find them, call them, put the deal together, hire the mobile notary and the attorney, and we give you 8% of the gross. Pretty good, since we're paying the owners 60 to 70, and we always use an attorney, paying them 8 to 13 or so. That's a good cut when we get it out of the court. So contact these people. You're going to need to get a paid subscription service, guys. If you're trying to use free skip tracing or people finder services, you're going to fail miserably. Also, you can't just text. You can't just email. You can't just DM somebody and expect them to think you're anything but a scam. There's no way to come across non-scam like. You have to also you need to mail and call them because that's how you're going to create credibility and that's going to get past the whole scam idea. Part of the contacting people is obviously the negotiation. So when we're talking about negotiation, the important points here are you need to lay out exactly what created the money. I know some of my competitors are telling people, hey, you'll tell them where the money is after they sign your agreement. That sounds shady, and it sounds like the wrong way to start out a professional relationship to me. I just don't think that's a good idea. So we always lay out exactly where the money is, but we're bringing value to the table. We're going to use an attorney in the retrieval, and this is how we train it as well. And of course, you can partner with us, and we'll do the heavy lifting here. But we're going to use an attorney. We even give them good faith money, 10% of the gross amount being held uh, by the court as good faith within 10 business days, 2 weeks after they sign our agreement, just to show them we're real. And that kind of gets them past that. But we're also bringing value to the table. We have attorneys and we have knowledge and experience. And of course, if you partner with us, you can ride the coattails of that. Besides being honest and open and not using the we'll tell you later, there are some other things you need to consider when you're negotiating with these folks. You're going to tell them exactly how much is there, exactly how much you're going to end up with. And you are going to, this is extremely, listen, if nothing else, this is extremely important. Under promise, over perform. And what I mean by that is if you think it's going to take a couple months to get it out of the court, add a couple more months to it. Let them know, hey, it could take, if you think it's going to be 3 in that particular county, and they'll tell you how long it typically takes. If you think it's going to be 3, make it 6. All right. And let them know, hey, after we get this, I'm going to give it to the attorney. At that point, they're going to get rolling on it. There may be nothing that we have to say for a month or two. We have started it. We will occasionally check in with you. Let them set boundaries, guys. Another thing you have to remember when you're negotiating is in certain states, there are finder laws. If you are doing this on contingency, okay, trying to just get an agreement signed and be a finder, in a lot of states, you're going to have to be registered in that state and you're going to have caps on how much you can charge or make on a deal, okay? We're not finders. We don't fall under those regulations. We always use attorneys and a structured buyout. We are participating in the claim. It's a whole different animal. But if you're not going to do that, because that's the way we treat, that's the way we train it. But if you're not going to do that, if you're going to try to do it on consignment or whatever, make sure you're aware of what you can charge and stay legal. Stay on the good side of the law. All right, getting the contract signed. So the contracts that we use are a power of attorney to our attorney and a structured buyout agreement that specifies how much we're going to give them at within 10 business days after they sign and how much we're going to give them when we successfully get the money out. Obviously, it's considerably more. Typically, we're paying between 60 and 70% to the claimant. So that's a big, it really needs to be spelled out, guys. Contracts are extremely important. Now, counties will also ask for additional information sometimes, W-9s, an actual claim form that they generate. We allow our attorney to handle that. We find that works a little bit better, and they listen to the attorney even more than they do us. All right, so let's talk about the payout. Now I'm going to look at my cheat sheet again on this. Let's talk about the payout. This is an important thing because a lot of you guys don't understand how the different payment methods work, and I want to touch base on that. And you're going to be amazed at how many people say they don't have a checking account. Many of them are telling the truth. They don't have an account that they can use. I mean, the simple answer is I'm going to send you a check and you can open one with that check, right? I mean, that handles it. If you've made the payment, you've done your part. Whether or not they can whether or not they have a checking account is not your problem. However, you're going to run into issues where people are going to want different payment methods. And I have a treasury management system, so I use ACH debit straight into accounts. But just in case they ask for some of these other methods, let me cover some things for you so you understand. Cash App, you can deposit at retailers. You can actually load a Cash App account up and send it out. $500 a day, $1,000 a week. That's it. Most of the stuff you're going after is going to be way more of a payout. I'm sorry, 500 a day, 1,000 a week, 4,000 a month max with the Cash App. So that's really not an option on the vast majority, if not all of the stuff you're going to go after. Western Union, here's the granddaddy. Okay, they don't have a checking account. I can guarantee you they're going to be able to get to Western Union. Now, when they signed the contracts and agreement, you should have also gotten a copy of their IDs and made sure they weren't expired. And I would remind them if they need Western Union, hey guys, If you need Western Union, then what we're going to do is we're going to send it through that, but they're going to check your ID, so it better not be expired. Um, that's up to 50,000 a day for verified senders, or up to 3,000 a day for non-verified. Good way to do it. Zelle, couple issues here, guys. So this varies by bank and could be 500 to 5,000 a day. Also, Zelle will not attach to a company account. A lot of you guys didn't realize that. It'll only attach to a personal, so that makes it a little more difficult to use if you have an LLC or a corporation that you want to run the money through. Venmo, verified accounts up to $4,999 per transaction. So you can send multiple transactions, obviously, right? So you can make it work. It's just going to be a little more difficult. You're going to have to send multiple ones on the bigger claims. But there's also another max, $6,999 a week. So, right? ACH debit, that's what I use. Great way to go. It's a good way to get it to them directly. I typically set it up so it'll hit their account the next day because I don't feel like paying the fee for same day ACH. Maybe your bank waives that, most do not. Bank checks work. Be careful. Now, you can send out a regular check. I am the victim of check fraud where my checks were intercepted once by the post office employees. Another time, somebody literally pulled it out of a mailbox. I had actually sent a check out from my home to go to somebody, and it got stolen. I had check fraud twice in a row over year and 3 months. So I don't like that. The bank checks are great. The problem with them is if they get lost, first of all, I would always send a bank check and a regular check, either UPS or FedEx next day or 2 day, whatever it is, the cheapest one you can get, but make them sign for it, okay? I like a regular check over a bank check because you can cancel a regular check if it goes missing. And guys, I don't know what kind of experience you have with UPS or FedEx, but trust me, you send 50 out in a year, they're going to drop one. It's going to disappear. I ran into this problem with a bank check. I sent a bank check out FedEx one time. They needed a bank check. They needed to be able to cash it fast, whatever. I went ahead and said, fine. I don't do that anymore. But what happened was it went missing. Well, guess what? That's a bank check. Okay? That's the same as cash. The only way to get the money back into my account was to take out a bond. I think it was JW surety bonds or something like that. Take out a surety bond, and even then I had to wait a month to get the money back, and it was just a nightmare. So I would avoid bank checks. I really would, or cashier's checks. ACH debit if you've got that ability. If you don't have that ability, a regular check is fine. Western Union is your next pick, and then the other ones just aren't going to work in the majority of cases. All right, video number 3, the next video, it'll be linked here at the end. The next video, video number 3, is going to go over startup considerations, what you need to understand from, what kind of a business do you want to run? How do you want to get started? What you need to do to get rolling in this industry. Hope this has helped. And again, hope to see you guys on the site, surplusfundsriches.net. Click on free training. You're going to love what we got.